Welcome back, my friends. I'm so excited to see you today, this Sunday. Hope you're relaxing, hope you're kicking back, because we're going to talk about small space solutions. You asked for it, I brought it. Follow me. And since so many of you ask, I'm going to link all of these items in the description section below. I am wearing my absolute favorite sweater on the planet. This was just sent to me. I'm so excited about it. I'll link it. I'm wearing Loewe jeans, and I'm wearing these very fun Liz Claiborne vintage earrings that I sourced from eBay. We all have storage needs, and solutions are hard to find. So this YouTube is dedicated to finding the perfect way to store all of your items so that your home looks chic, presentable, and is very buttoned up. So if you don't have a lot of space, which most of us don't, especially when we live in large cities and space is very hard to come by, one way to create a beautiful area where you can actually have a home desk for working is to build it essentially next to a closet. So all you have to do is find a niche next to a closet, and believe it or not, you can carve out a perfect little area for yourself where you can have a place where you can type, where you can put your laptop, etc. So look at this photo. You will notice how great this space is that was carved out just next to a double closet. So if you are short on space and you need a home office, this is really a great way to incorporate it. Another way to make your space look visually larger would be essentially to create floating pieces in your home. If you have too many heavy pieces in a small space, for instance, a nightstand that would touch the floor, or credenzas that go all the way to the floor, and beds that go all the way to the floor, things are going to look heavy and not airy, and it's certainly not feng shui. So if you look at the example of this bed that is in this beautiful room, you will note that the nightstands are floating. Floating nightstands have the capacity to hold all of your items because they can have drawers, but at the same time, they're not going to feel cumbersome and cluttery, and this will really be a great storage solution and open up the space for the airiness you desire. Another idea similar to what I just talked about is having credenzas that float. If you have a big clunky piece in a small entryway of a small home, it's not going to look as good as if you have floating objects. So these floating objects can dual as storage, but they can also be very intriguing and very interesting to the eye, and they can also provide you with that airiness that really allows for more of a feng shui design. Dual spaces are what you have to do if you have a small home. And another thing that we recommend to some of our clients who live in New York or in very crowded cities is to have an area that you can use for two purposes. So in this photo, you will know that you've got looks like a beautiful niche, that it could be a credenza, but it could also dual as a desk. You have to keep the clutter off, and you got to be very cognizant of how it is that you're going to use the space. But if you keep all of your items that you need in a cute decorative box, and then you just throw on your laptop, this is a great place where you can sit and work away. Small spaces that need division is another very important part of small space solutions. And so this is one of the reasons that I found it really important to do this video for those of you that have a smaller apartment without really the ability to divide up the apartment because there just isn't any way to do so. So if you've got just a big square, believe it or not, there are some really inventive and creative ways of separating your spaces with what I call hollow bookcases. These hollow bookcases not only will serve as decor, a display shelf, but they will also divide up a room and create more of an ambiance. In this dining room, you have this beautiful airy bookcase that seems to be floating in the middle of the space, but it also serves as a divider between the dining room and the living room. Another great example of this is in this studio where there is just a simple bookcase. Again, the bookcases need to be lightweight, and I don't mean in their actual weight, but in their visual sense. You don't want something that's clunky, you want something that has very fine lines. So typically they're made of metal, and then they can serve as a place to not only display your favorite items, your favorite books, your favorite decor, but they also serve as a visual interest and room divider. Another great way to have your office in a room that is not meant to be an office is to float a shelf, basically what I call a single shelf with a stand, a tripod in the room. that bleeds into the bookshelf. This will allow for a variety of uses for that space, whether it's a desk where you're working, or whether it's a bunch of people doing arts and crafts, or whether it's a surface next to the kitchen where you can also do food prep. So you have to think outside the box. You have to come up with creative solutions that will allow you to use these spaces in a way that is multi-functional. A very obvious way of creating extra space for yourself is having a bed that looks really good, but also has storage solutions at the bottom without stuffing everything under the bed skirt, which looks terrible and collects dust. There are lots of beds that have drawers to the sides of them. This is an example of a bed that has storage solution built in, or literally cubbies that pull out. Here you could store winter sweaters or all kinds of things that you don't have room for, and also have a very clean, edited home. Remember, if you have any design questions, whether it be furniture layout or what to choose for your home or what color to paint your walls, you can certainly book a Zoom consultation by clicking the Zoom link in the description section. In a kid's room, we know that kids really amass a bunch of clutter. So whether it be books and toys and things of that nature, why not create the clutter behind them in a bookcase that's behind the bed? You can actually have these. In fact, I had one of these growing up. I distinctly remember having sort of a bookcase above my head when I was really, really young. And to this day, I remember having fun, like picking objects out of there while I was, ready to fall asleep and playing with the toys. And so this is a great solution for those of us who have very little space. In an entrance, definitely, if you lack an entire mudroom, which most of us do, why not create a cubby, a shelf in a very edited way to have your coat closet, to have your cubby, to have your bench. This bench opens up and really be able to have what would be a large room that facilitates both your coat closet and your shoes. Well, you can create this beautiful fixture. We've done this in many homes in New York where we create a little niche in the front of the home where you can put your coats in, where you can put your shoes in and go about your business. And look how beautiful this looks. You've got your mirror, you've got everything all in one, and it just looks architectural and very high-end. Furniture with storage is yet another very important part of small storage solutions. And if you haven't seen benches like this, they exist, they're everywhere. You can float them in front of your bed so that if your bed doesn't have storage, you can certainly create one with a bench that will open up and have a host of storage for you. My absolute favorite storage solution for homes that have very little space is to create them under the staircase. These are typically areas that are completely forgotten. And you can retrofit your existing staircase by creating shelves, by creating this exterior sort of wardrobe where you can store so many things. And if you've got a staircase similar to this, I just love the way that this looks and the ability to store a myriad of things. Even if it's close to the kitchen, you can have food items in here and really take use of this completely ignored space in your home. Also, take into account your vertical space. If you've got tall ceilings, why not take advantage of your vertical space, but do it in a way that's chic? You can have closed cabinets at the bottom and you can open the shelves on the top. You can have a myriad of configurations, and this is a great way to be able to store books, store items, and also have a beautiful visual space to look at. I have so many of you that ask me, what do I do if I have a small space? This is exactly why we dedicated this video to you, so that you can create a home that is clutter-free. Remember, your brain can't think properly, at least mine cannot think, if there is clutter everywhere. Whenever I lose something, I don't actually look for that item. I start organizing and putting things in their place, and guess what? My lost item appears. So I hope that you're able to use some of this information to create a very livable space that is very clean, very chic, where everything has a home, everything has a place, and you can live a better life. Make sure and let me know which of these spaces you are going to be utilizing, which of these tips are going to be useful for you. I can't wait to see you again next week on this channel, The Red Elevator.